I think my wife is having an affair with her cousin.
How? Which cousin? First cousin, third cousin, fourth cousin?
Trigger warning for incest. This situation happened about 2 weeks ago, and I've gone from fully trusting her to deeply doubting her. That's a tough one. My wife, 25 female, and I, 26 male, met when I was 19, and we fell in love quite quickly. She had a 4-month-old child from a previous relationship, and that father hasn't been in the picture since I've known her. By the way, this comes from illustrious Fox 8800. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Riley.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a father. But I have a genetic disorder I don't wish to pass on, so adoption was just great with me. We've been like your normal family every day since then. We got married last year. She was never super close with her family, but she did have a pair of cousins she was always kind of close to. Maybe too close.
Maybe.
And I had lots of fun getting to know them. She did mention that one of them, Max, we see on Christmas every year, and he seems like a normal dude. I actually liked him as her family is a bunch of stuffed shirts, and he's down to earth.
Yeah,
Weird
you and your
stuffed
shirt stuffing.
Oh,
What is
stuffy
that?
shirts.
What does that mean?
Recently, they've reconnected and gone to a few family functions. We own one car, and since I needed it for work, he picked her up and drove her to these things. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Her behavior really didn't make any obvious changes. However, randomly, as I was watching TV, one night she came in and mentioned that I had friended a girl from my place of work. I accepted a friend request. We're a pretty open couple, and things don't usually offend us. She didn't accuse me of cheating, but it felt like she was about to, which has never happened before.
Yeah, I noticed you accepted a friend request. When did you start hating me exactly?
This makes no sense when one partner's cheating and the other person's...
and then they're like, are you cheating?
Yeah, like,
So hypocritical.
I don't get it.
It draws more attention to you.
Exactly.
And also, why are you being all huffy puffy?
And why are you so looking into what the other person's doing whenever you're doing
Literally, you don't
insane
care
work?
about them.
Worry more about not getting caught.
Guys, maybe
Or
the
just
friend
don't
request caused the incest.
Maybe that's gonna be your argument.
Maybe there was no funny business there until this friend request. So you just had to
man.
friend that girl.
Yeah,
Now
good job,
I'm
OP.
banging my cousin, and it's all your fault.
I mentioned this because I've read cheaters accuse their partner as projection or something. These family outings were legitimate. The whole family posts pics on Facebook, and my wife sends pics from the outings. There were 2 of these events, and each time my wife came home, she was like a robot. Spicy sleep seemed normal, if not quieter than usual. But since she suffers from depression, she often gets cold every so often. And when I asked her if she was doing all right, she chalked it up to that. Well, 2 weeks ago, she leaves for work, and it was my day off. I puttered around the house, dropped the boy off at school, and came home to check my email. On Facebook, I saw that I had a message from her cousin. He and I had recently discussed going out to see a farm team baseball game, and I thought he was getting back to me. The message reads, I'd like to see you on your knees.
Cousin bye?
Like praying to the Lord?
Like when the umpire is on his knees catching the ball?
Wait, he sent that message to you.
Yeah. He probably got the last name right, but the first name wrong.
I was confused as heck until I realized that my wife was still signed in and that it was her he was talking to.
Oh no.
I wanted to hurt him. I instantly rushed and read through their chat log, and it was filled with him being into her. She was saying things like, but I'm married. Why is that your first concern, girl?
Not, you're my cousin.
You're my cousin.
The
Why
first-
is that not your first concern?
The first
we
thing
share
you
a
should
grandpa.
say
We can't do it.
Yo, girl,
is,
calm down.
Hey, Chat GPT, where do I find the
Block button.
Dude, she's just trying to lower her score on the rice purity test. And no, I'm married. But since none of them mention anything happening yet, and she's denying him, albeit kindly, I can't exactly say she's cheating. She hasn't told you. And her cousin is the one flirting with her. So, doesn't really matter if she's gone all the way with him.
Cousin? There's so many other dudes out there you could cheat with.
So many other fish in the sea.
billions of them?
When she gets home and our son is put to bed, I confront her over the situation. She instantly breaks down into hysterics and tears, saying she didn't do anything and didn't know how to tell me. I love her, and I wanted to believe her and that he was just being awful, but the way she didn't tell me and acted seemingly normal leads me to believe something else was going on. I told her that I believed her and asked if I could message him to tell him to back off, and how disgusted I am that they are cousins, or if she would prefer to tell him and handle it herself. She first expressed that she would tell him that I knew and not to call her, but her resolve cracked as she was confident this would just stop. I was furious about that, but didn't express it, and told her that knowing she wasn't going to, I was going to give him a piece of my mind.
Yeah, the piece that doesn't like my wife, my girlfriend,
My wife.
my wife's cousin, freaking being all gross in the DMs.
This is my wife. If she's being harassed, I will end it. If she's not being harassed, she's cheating on me. Everyone's glossing over the cousin bit
They really are.
in this
He
story.
might be a third cousin. At what cousin is it okay?
Nope.
So I messaged him. He saw it but made no reply. The wife says I should have let her handle the situation, and I told her there was no way I was going to keep quiet in the face of this. She seemed to understand and expressed in the end that I was probably right to confront him because she didn't know how.
Yeah, it's like you weren't gonna take care of it. Your
Haven't
version
taken
of
care of it.
handling the situation is not handling
Yeah,
it.
You haven't taken care of it this whole time. All seemed to be returning to normal, but 3 days later, I come home and she's crying. I asked her what's wrong, and she said, "It's Max. You should have let me handle it." I messaged him yesterday, and he won't talk to me.
Why do you want to talk to him?
What do you mean? Girl, what do you mean you won't talk to me? What?
What's going on here?
We have the conversation again about me not sitting idly by when someone is pestering my wife. She gave me a look. It wasn't much and only for a second, but it gave me the impression that she didn't consider it intimidation. We ended the discussion in agreement that I handled it how any man would handle it. I don't think you did, to be honest. This is her cousin.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
2 days later, I'm coming to bed late, like 2 a.m., as I was finishing up some work. I hear her on the phone with somebody kind of chuckling. This isn't normal. She told me it was her mom and had something to do with our kid's birthday, which I didn't buy. But at this point, I've been playing stupid so I can observe the situation from a place where she feels comfortable. The next day, she's crying again, and at this point, I've really had enough. When I ask her if this is about Max again, she says she tried to call and apologize for not handling the situation herself, and that he still isn't talking to her.
Oh my god.
Why would you want?
Why do you want
Why?
your cousin who's trying to start an incestuous relationship with you to speak to you?
I'm out. I'm out, Sharks. I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm saying it's so weird. I'm never gonna look at you and not see the person who was just like, no, I'm married. Their own cousin.
Yeah.
It's like it's so suspicious that you are not.
Like, you, I'm telling your whole family.
Yeah, you guys see each other at holidays because you're related.
If I had a cousin who did this, I'm immediately telling my brother, my parents, saying, oh my God, don't ever talk to me again.
Their parents.
Their parents as well.
Telling my grandparents.
Telling my everyone's knowing. And then I'm cutting them off.
Whole family's gonna know about this.
No, you know what? I tell one aunt, but she tells everyone everything. And then I only have to tell one person, so it's quicker, more efficient.
There you go.
Boom. Family function.
I told her that it sounds like she was cheating on me, and I caught them. I'm essentially laying here with my finger on the button, waiting for some solid truth, because if this is what it's feeling more and more like, I'm about to go nuclear on both of them.
Finger is on the button. Push the button.
Comments. Do you have any thoughts before we get into these comments?
Press that button.
Press it.
Press that button.
Press it.
Press the button. Press the button. Your wife
I'm
is
scared.
trying to
I'm scared, Mom.
bag
Pick
her
me
own
up.
cousin.
That was good. Comment 1. I don't blame you for being suspicious. This is messed up. But at least you guys have tried to handle it through therapy. I'd keep researching, but at some point, if you have no evidence, then see what your wife was hoping would happen. Why did she feel the need to preserve the relationship with a creep? Why are we just glossing over the fact that this is our cousin? He's not just a creep, it's her cousin creep.
I don't know.
OP says we haven't gone to therapy for this. I mentioned that she and I were both mistreated as preteens in uninvolved scenarios. We both went through extensive therapy because of this and have talked about our abuse together and what steps and tools we got to move past and move on. I brought that up because we'd never had trouble communicating when something is bothering us, which makes her inability to do so now suspicious to me. Reply, with all due respect for both of you, it sounds like you are both handling this in a fairly dysfunctional way, possibly because of the past trauma you both suffered. I think some couples therapy could be extremely helpful to help you both sort out what you're feeling and how best to deal with it. That said, it does sound like she is not being completely honest with you. Instead of being sneaky, I would straight up admit that based on her behavior, you do not trust her and demand to see her texts and phone log. You can let her know that if she refuses, you will assume the worst and talk to a lawyer about getting divorced. And there is an update.
Bro.
But yeah.
If you don't divorce and say, this is weird, I have no hope for you.
Truly,
Yeah.
my response would be, you're a freak. This is weird. I'm out of here.
It makes me kind of wonder if he's doing something with his cousin OP because he doesn't.
He's just so chill about it.
When your wife wants your cousin, it's hard to keep loving.
Update.
Cousin loving.
Cousin love it.
Goodness gracious.
I didn't sleep at all last night, and when she woke up, I made breakfast. I told her I shouldn't have blown up and that we should probably sit down tonight and talk about things.
I'm sorry. If you find out your significant other is cheating, I think it's a valid reaction to be upset about it.
Especially with her cousin.
Well, at least it's in the family. At least you know the guy, right? At least you can go to the game and split a hot dog
Yeah.
and say, wow, look at that. That guy just hit a home run.
He's a familiar face around Thanksgiving time.
At least it's not a complete stranger, right?
You know what? That's probably what he's thinking. I'll give you that. You know what? Affair cousins, you get the pass from now on. You get the OK Storytime approval, stamp of approval going forward.
It's not my stamp. She agreed like she wasn't even upset to begin with and said she knew she had probably been acting badly.
What?
I told her that sort of intimidation she was dealing with was infinitely more difficult because he's a member of the family. She just seemed to agree with me. What is going on? Are we an upside down world?
This is how he acknowledges it? Because he's a member of the family.
I wasn't going to snoop, but so many people on here told me I ought to. And not wanting to be accused of not taking the advice I asked for, I decided to go through with it and check her emails. With the way she was acting this morning, I had fewer reasons to be suspicious, but at this point, what the heck? And did just that. The level of disgust, hatred, and anger I feel cannot be expressed right, and there will be a divorce.
Yay!
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. There was one email entitled Yummy.
Oh, no. Oh.
I can't read that.
Oh.
Podcast
That's wild.
listeners, if you want to know
Wow.
what the picture was, you got to come to the YouTube.
That's,
Here, I'll explain it.
there's some sailors.
Sailors on her
Set
face.
sail.
She had to clean up her face.
Clean up on aisle face.
The back and forths are him describing to her his encounters with random queer men. They make references to past spicy encounters they've had together, complete with pictures.
Wow. This is very graphic.
Then I read some absolutely disgusting filth talk between them, where she's behaving in a very dominating way and insulting his size. Looking at the dates, I realized this was from a year ago.
Dude, I wouldn't doubt that they've been doing this since who knows when.
Legit, I'm
What is this?
divorcing, and then I'm telling everyone in the family.
You know what? You can go to a marriage and family attorney for this.
Dude, I think I'm doing it. It's anonymous. I'm disappearing like a fart
Yeah.
in the wind after
I'm
this.
changing my name.
Yeah,
I'm sending in
honestly.
a manila envelope with no name
Yeah.
on it. I'm just putting it in a mailbox, and then I'm like walking into the sunset, never to be seen again.
As I continue to read, I'm able to figure out, at least from how it reads, that they used to hook up frequently, but stopped after we got married. Later, she starts using the "I'm married" excuse, but it's reading like that's just a spicy hobby of his to be told he can't touch her anymore, which he probably enjoys. I'm raising her kid, and she does this to me. I've wasted the last 6 years changing my work schedule and not taking better paying jobs because I need hours where I'm able to watch him.
Wait a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I agree.
Is this kid's name Joffrey?
Probably, man. She said he's not in the picture. If it was the cousin, then she would never admit it.
Oh my gosh.
Kid's gonna have superpowers.
I went outside and sat on the front porch, called my brother over, and after explaining the entire situation, I started packing up my clothes and checking into a hotel. These conversations have all been printed and I've sent copies to myself. I have to make an appointment at some STD clinic because according to these back and forths, a part of his thing is having unprotected, spicy sleep with these men.
Oh.
My soon-to-be ex-wife has a device, and as such, I've never once in all these years worn protection with her.
Oh, brother.
Good luck, OP.
I'm stopping this story right now to let you know you could win $100 potentially.
Right now, if you go to live streams that we have on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. PST and give us a ring, you might win it.
And the ring is clicking this link or scanning this QR code and just putting in your name and number.
Easy.
Easy.
And we'll call you sometime during the live stream, and if you pick up, you win that $100.
This right here.
Holy crap, I can't believe it.
Yeah! You're the OK Storytime giveaway winner!
It is going to be a 440 area code, so make it turn up as spam, but you got to answer it.
You gotta answer it, or you don't win that $100.
This won't be yours. I'll give it to the next person. It might be Keon. Who knows? And, okay, I guess we'll go back to the story now, but remember, you could win this.
I know his work schedule roughly because I used to work for the same company he does. So I'm going to drive down to see his wife, evidence in hand. Good on you. There's no fixing this. There's no therapy, no hope, nothing positive, and I don't care to even entertain an apology. I'm divorcing her and she'll get nothing. Good.
Oh my
She deserves nothing.
gosh. This is so messy.
Yeah, and there is a
Luckily,
second update.
There's an
Her
update?
cousin will be there for her.
Oh, yeah. You know, family's
Her
always
family
there
is
for you.
very
Ah! Ew!
Update 2. The last week and a half has been extremely depressing and stressful.
Aw, can't we make it funny?
Let's put a spin
Let's
on it.
lighten up, buddy.
Come on.
The new information about my ex's relationship with Max started eating me alive.
Oh, like flesh-eating bacteria.
Uh,
An amoeba.
I started imagining them sneaking off every time my back was turned. I faced the fact that she was never truly mine, that I was just some placeholder man and babysitter here, so I could provide a cover for her relationship. If it makes you feel any better, she clearly is not okay nor stable if she's having an affair with her cousin. I came to the realization that I'm not going to continue my life as an extension of hers. This means that I will not be seeking any sort of relationship with her son after the divorce. It is the worst feeling I've ever had in my life, but I can't imagine myself ever getting better if I can't get out from under her shadow. He's still young, I'm still young, and there will be many years to heal from this. Sherry's life has been a living heck for the last 4 days. Her brother has arrived earlier in this week, and she was so relieved to finally see her family in all of this. Who's Sherry?
She was relieved to finally see her family?
Is it run in the family?
Relieved how?
When she introduced me as the ex-husband of Max's affair partner, and that we had been supporting each other through this, he pretty much figured out that we were seeing each other. Is Sherry the OP's ex? Did he give her a name?
Let me look up Sherry. Un momento, por favor. Oh,
Cousin's wife.
cousin's wife,
Okay.
yeah.
Sherry is the cousin's wife. You're right, Lou. That makes sense. He took me aside like I expected any big brother might do and expressed concerns that she might be jumping into things too early. I think you all both are jumping into things too early. You just found out that your partners were seeing their cousin.
Yeah, I think revenge was on his mind, and he wanted to get
Like-
back at him because
Need
he's
like
super
a
hurt.
New name, new social security number, new life.
I explained to him that she and I had the same conversation, and we are going easy because of this. I told him I respected his sister and that our relationship mostly began because I knew she had no support locally, and being hurt in the same affair, I thought we could relate.
This is the dumbest. I'm sorry. It's dumb.
I also told him that if they decided it was best for her to go back home, I wasn't going to stand in the way. Her recovery should come first to her, not only for herself, but also for her daughter. When things were finally looking up, Sherry got a call from the hospital and Max was in the ICU. Max's parents went from universally condemning him to asking Sherry whether or not she'd consider reconciling with him. And then Sherry just goes, nope. She told me that she told them she'd consider it, but only because she didn't want to see them hurting any more on top of this.
No, run, girl. You do
Block
not have
them
to.
all.
Yes, you
Block them all.
You do not have to people please anymore.
As of writing this, he's been in the ICU for 5 days. Sherry told me that even if they manage to save him, the amount of brain damage he's received will impact him severely for the rest of his life. I can't say I pity him. I don't wish passing or suffering on anyone, but this man had a hand in ruining my marriage. I'm just here for Sherry until she decides what she's going to do with her life following this.
Why? Just go away.
Go into the sunset.
Go into a new place you've never been with people you do not know, and do not be the intimate confidant of your wife's affair partner's ex-wife.
My ex, I hear, is actually seeing someone now, which probably means there were multiple guys in the shadows.
Ew.
This is a hard reality check for me.
Well, she's definitely got more than one cousin.
That's part of my reason for not remaining in my stepson's life. I'll never get past the drama, and I'd have to sit back powerlessly and watch as her poor decisions continue to make his life worse and worse. I still don't get what I did wrong. Nothing. I'm a good listener. I'm a provider. I clean up after myself. I did my best to never make her feel unloved or unwanted.
If she just
Dude.
didn't like your jeans, you should have bought Wranglers.
Dude, if she's freaking seeing her cousin, if she's having an affair with her cousin, it's not you.
She's messed up.
I raised her kid. I helped her aunts and uncles with home renovations. I had a great relationship with her folks. Her father and I used to go out for adult sodas and watch the game together independent of her. So it's not as if there was friction in how I dealt with her family. My family adored and accepted her and her son from day one. There were spicy issues, I guess, but it's not like we had a spiceless marriage. We could have had better communication there, as there were some conflicts over dominance, but I thought what we had was strong enough to endure something like that. Turns out there was really no relationship at all, just a dang illusion. I wish I had something more positive to end this on, but this will be my last update. If you're interested to know what I intend to do with my life moving forward, it's basically one of 3 options, all of which will take place after this event with Max is over. I can't imagine myself leaving Sherry in the middle of all this, since she has been a constant pillar of support for me this whole time. Option 1, if Sherry wants to move back to her home state when this is over, I'll give her a kiss goodbye and send her on her way. No offense to the state, but I don't see a future for me there. If she wants me to go with her, we will have a discussion, and I might do some research on the area. She makes me happy. She feels how a loving partner ought to feel.
Are you sure that out of all the people on Earth you could end up with, it has to be the one person who is intrinsically involved in the affair that you just went through?
You just could never tell anyone what happened, how
Like,
you met your wife.
how'd you guys get together? Well,
Our ex-partners got together with their cousin.
it was just kind of fate. You
I'm
know?
not going to tell her how much she means to me because I want her to make the choices that are best for her and her daughter without me clouding her judgment. If in the course of our discussion she tells me she loves me and wants to give us an honest try, I'll tell her how I feel and we'll go from there. I don't want to be morbid, but if Max doesn't pull through, we're both leaving the state anyway. Option 2, if Sherry and I don't continue our relationship, the answer is easier. I have friends and family on the West Coast that I've been missing, and my career has more opportunities for advancement there anyhow. I could really rediscover myself on my own and make a life for myself. In all honesty, this is probably what I'll most likely do. Go surfing again, stay in shape, find someone who will actually love me, start a family. The possibilities are endless. I've mentioned this to Sherry, and she expressed some interest in making a move like that because she's never been out west before. That would be an undertaking, but if the love and willingness are there, I'd be happy to date her for several months before deciding to take that step. By the way, you can take a step towards listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story.
I just found 4 more updates.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna put them in. We're gonna have to read them back. I'm sorry. I was like, this can't be it. Okay, so this is gonna be a little longer one, but holy cow.
So over under, they end up going to California and then breaking up because she's like, yeah, I don't know. I think I was in a weird place when I decided to move across the country with the only other person on Earth who was involved in this insane affair that I went through. I'm sorry. Maybe she moves out to California and they both fall in love with the same surfer. And now they're
And
in a,
the
and then they
surfer is
become
their
poly.
cousin.
And the surfer becomes their unicorn. and then it's revealed that the surfer is a long-lost
Yeah.
relative.
Mm-hmm. Of both of
And then that turns into a movie script, and it's called First Cousins. Or no, it's called Cousins First.
them.
Cousins first, lovers second.
But there's more.
No. Lovers first, second cousins. There we go. That's the title.
Terrible. Option 3, I could just remain here and climb the ladder at work now that there is nothing preventing me from doing that. I'm currently a quality control floor supervisor in the manufacturing industry. Most guys who've worked here as long as me have already gone corporate and sit behind a desk. And that should have been me as well, but they needed a night supervisor and I couldn't take the position before because of family. I could just remain here and flourish, get myself a new girlfriend, or if for some reason Sherry stays here, pursue a lasting relationship with her. I'm also looking into my disorder to see if any advancements have been made. Maybe there's a way I could have my own children now with no fear of passing anything on. I haven't looked into it in over a decade, so who knows? Once more, it's still the start of a lifetime journey, and I'd be lying if I said I felt good about it. But things must go on. Oh, boy.
And we don't know what happened to the cousin.
We don't
We
know.
just know he's in the
Yet.
ICU. We don't know what happened to him. Maybe we'll find out in these updates.
Anyway, 3 months since my D-Day, and my life is almost unrecognizable. In a good
Probably
way.
in a good way, yeah. I would hope in a good way.
I know 2 months ago I titled my last update as My Last Update, but I figured since there are some fairly huge developments in my walk down this crazy road, I'd share it all with you. TLDR, if this is my first post you're seeing, back early July, I came across some disgusting Facebook messages between my soon-to-be ex and her cousin Max. With some further snooping, I discovered that they've been schmexually involved for at least 10 years, which predates my relationship with her. The first person I told was Sherry, Max's wife. She outed them on social media pretty heavily. My ex took my stepson and moved back in with her parents, and I remained in my current apartment. During the first few weeks after the discovery, Sherry and I met up for emotional support and to exchange evidence of the affair to help each other's divorce cases. It escalated to a physical relationship, and currently she is my girlfriend. Sherry's husband vanished from the picture after being outed, and though it was ultimately ruled as accidental, Max ingested a lethal amount of antifreeze and as of the day after my last update passed away. Things for Sherry turned ugly almost instantly. Max's parents up until that point had sided with her on everything, even allowing her to remain in their second home with her daughter. Max's passing turned the situation around and they began blaming her for it, mainly because of how she outed him so publicly. Secondly, the week before this happened, my soon-to-be ex's parents spotted Sherry and I on a date looking cozy together. We wanted to keep it all on the down low until the divorce, but we were outed. And nobody on any side of this, my folks or hers, was thrilled with it.
Yeah, we're not thrilled with it either, OP.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't really care much about that relationship. I don't think your family has any right to comment on your relationships after you went through what you went through, man. In my last update, I said that I would be unable to remain a stepfather to my ex's son, but in practice, for a few weeks, I resolved to be a weekend father against my own misgivings. I love him too much, as it turns out, to walk away. I would have been able to continue seeing him regularly, but the ex decided to end that once she found out Sherry and I were an item. Wow, you are a hypocrite. I still see him. In fact, I took him apple picking last weekend, but it's clear she's not going to allow me to have regular weekly visits. Our divorce hearing is scheduled for mid-November, and aside from the occasional call to check in on my stepson, she and I have gone no contact. Good. I've since learned that she had 2 more affairs before we were married and 1 during the marriage.
Oh.
When our mutual friends heard about the impending divorce, they came forward and mentioned times where they were suspicious of her behavior with these 2. And you didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Really glad they stayed silent about these concerns for years. Now I don't trust a single one of them.
Yeah.
Nothing like finding out that everybody thinks you're an oblivious moron when you already think you're an oblivious moron. None of that really matters. And at this point, it's kind of like falling down and scraping my knee after getting shot. Like, yeah, it sucks, but comparatively, not so much. Yeah, I mean, like, OP, you've probably gone through one of the worst things that you could go through, so.
Yeah, I feel like death would have been better than this.
I mentioned how Sherry's former in-laws turned on her, and because of their constant harassing phone calls and threats of eviction, I offered to let her move in with me for the time being. Her original goal was to move back to her home state to be with her family, but we're just trying to figure out the best way to do this. I know some people are going to call us stupid, but after living together for a week, we decided on not going our separate ways, and that we'll make a go of it in a real relationship. Absolutely nobody in our families are cheering this on, as they both rightly think we went too fast. And maybe we did, you for sure did. But we're both very happy together, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Goodness gracious. I mean, they're there for each other.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're trauma bonded, which is not necessarily the best start to a relationship.
Yeah, the way you're coping with all of it is a little rash.
Don't be rash.
Hey, at least you guys get each other.
You may be the only people that do. I've also learned in this time that Sherry never finished high school, as she moved to be with Max before she graduated. He also wanted to have that traditional family, outside of cousin effing and infidelity, roles, so she doesn't have much experience working. She's currently working on getting her GED, and her family offered to pay for her to go to attend some form of higher education, provided she moves closer to home. As it turns out, there happens to be plenty of work in my field around where her family lives, and what with the current political BS, it's probably better to move out of the city anyway. Houses are also cheaper there, and the idea of owning my own house is pretty tempting, so I'll most likely head out that way myself when she does. Sherry and I are very close and have really taken well to living together. We've been both in therapy over this, and there's been a few times we've even gone with each other to the other's appointment.
I would love to know what the therapist thinks about all this.
Me too. The therapist is
They're
like,
thinking, here comes the money.
oh, they're like, we're going to see you maybe 3 times a week. Let's go 3 times.
I'm just going to live in your house.
Yeah, let's just do it again. Back-to-back session. We are both learning together what a relationship ought to be. I've only had 2 long-term relationships in my life, and from my ex-wife, I had just accepted it as normal that we were pretty distant from each other. There was no lack of spicy intimacy between us, but I've realized just how much the ex and I were living in 2 separate worlds under the same roof. Sherry experienced similar feelings with Max. She texts and calls me frequently for no reason. We talk about our days, sit down to dinner together. She also cooks a lot, which has sparked an interest in it for me. So over the last few weeks, we've been finding interesting things to make together, and it's fun. A shared interest and activity, 6 years with my ex, and I can't remember what our thing was, or if we really had anything. I've kept it together pretty reasonably, all things considered. But when I had a moment alone, I shed some tears over the fact that the last 6 years of my life were completely meaningless and I've got nothing to show for it. The feeling passed pretty quickly. Sherry has her bad days. The therapy has really kept her afloat because in the week following Max's passing, I was very afraid she might do something to hurt herself. I am making sure to make time for myself to heal, but helping her keep it together was really instrumental in keeping me moving forward.
That's a really hard sentence to believe, OP.
Yeah.
Apologies. If you're on a plane and the oxygen masks go down, who do you put on first? What do you do first?
The women and the children.
No, you put your own first.
Whenever
Correct.
she isn't feeling down, we're connected at the hip. I just feel like you guys are maybe codependent, probably.
Yeah, it's almost like you guys started this relationship on the
Trauma
like,
bonding.
most unstable. Like, it's not even you built the house on sand. You built the house on an active volcano.
Yes, with toothpicks. So the
And
house burns.
You built the
The
house
volcanoes are related to each other
directly on 2 tectonic plates that are currently shifting,
and are related to each other.
and also from the same family.
We go to bed at the same time together and get up together, share the shower sometimes. A lot of things I didn't know I needed in my life. Plus, I get to do some parenting stuff, such as feeding and putting her daughter down for sleep, which has made it so my dad instincts are still fed. The ex has, of course, learned of the relationship, and that's gone about as well as you might expect. She too blames Sherry for what Max did to himself. She seems to think everything would have been better if we kept things between ourselves in the breakup, rather than Sherry blowing up Facebook with the news. I mean, in part, I don't agree with that because that's what your ex-wife said. Your ex-wife can go, I don't know, kick rocks for all I care. However, I think for Sherry's sake, they never need to post all of that drama online. It doesn't really help you. She says she would have never left our apartment if she knew that Sherry was going to move in before going on a tirade of how schmexually inadequate I apparently am before I had to hang up on her. November, and my divorce can't come fast enough. Okay, last paragraph, I swear. But I started writing this a couple of days ago, and as of this morning, Sherry took 2 pregnancy tests and both came back positive. So this is a curveball I haven't been expecting, as everyone who's read my other posts knows I'm terrified of passing on my bone disorder. We spent the day talking about it. She has gotten her period after she separated from Max, so that's not a possibility. So it must have been me getting careless. Wait, what?
Sherry's pregnant. X had
Have
an
we
implant.
not listened to the words of Lil
Yeah.
Wayne? Safe, spicy sleep, great spicy sleep. Better wear your latex. Because you don't want that late
Yeah.
text that I think I'm late text.
Yeah,
That was great.
that was really good.
Thanks, Lil Wayne.
She's gotten her period after she separated from Max, so that's not a possibility, so it must have been me getting careless. Still, need a doctor's appointment to confirm, which is set up, and we've been Googling about my condition all day. The good news, we can find out as early as the 14th week if the child has severe or moderate case. This year keeps piling on. If the child is healthy, I'll be happy no matter what. Neither her or I are big on the idea of terminating a pregnancy, unless, of course, they see a severe case, which in many cases means passing at birth. So many worries. We've chosen to be happy with this until we see what's up at week 14. I'm in love with her, she's in love with me, and we're spiraling headlong into I don't effing know what. Yeah, dude, you're boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy.
Oh, wait,
Wow.
this is the last sentence.
But I'm afraid. Hopeful, but so afraid I've been preying on it, and to who I don't know, I'm an atheist. And there is a 4th update, but wow.
Oh my gosh!
Y'all are going so fast.
Dude, you're literally starting a family with your wife's affair partner who happens to be also your wife's cousin.
Your wife, affair partner, cousin's ex.
This is why some people just stay inside and don't do anything.
And they don't go out.
Because they're like, this could happen to you.
At a drop of a hat.
This is why we should have just walked into the sunset whistling a little tune
Yup.
instead of, I don't know, making a baby
Yeah.
with the wife of your ex's affair partner
Dude,
who drank antifreeze.
you should have just become Johnny Appleseed instead of planting seeds in Sherry.
That is the wildest pull out of nowhere I have ever heard.
1 year update to I, 26 male, think my wife, 25 female, is or was cheating on me with her cousin. A year ago today was the day I made the most life-changing discovery I'd ever made in my life, but I didn't know it at the time. I just sat down to check Facebook, saw I had a message, and realized after I clicked it that it was my then wife's account that was active. Inside were messages of a spicy nature from her cousin Max. That got the ball rolling, and within 3 weeks of this message, Max's then wife Sherry and I collected evidence of their affair stretching back to the days of MySpace.
Oh my god. That's crazy because this was 4 years ago. When did MySpace become a thing?
So this has been going on a
Well,
long, long
MySpace
time.
was like probably early 2000s.
MySpace like 05, 06.
Yeah, and these people are like,
So this has been a little
you're like your
family
age?
affair for over a decade.
Yeah, which is also kind of concerning. I'm like, what was going on in their home life? And through the trauma, she and I began supporting each other and then dating. A year later, she is the mother of my firstborn child. This affair has changed the lives of so many people involved and surrounding it. Max, my ex's cousin and affair partner, passed. Sherry has been living on a property owned by Max's parents, and they had taken her side when the affair was made public, but took back their support when he passed. Fearing they'd evict her, or worse, she and her daughter moved into my apartment. Max's passing also saw my ex openly hated and despised by her family for her role in the affair. They had been blaming him for it and acting as though Max was a predator that had been abusing her until he passed, and then the blame got shifted to her. She's no longer welcome at family gatherings, and the only people she speaks to is her own parents. And I think the only reason they haven't disowned her is because of my former stepson. I mean, like, yeah, how do you're never going to see your family after. My ex-wife has been letting me continue to see my stepson after we split. My relationship with Sherry was outed around the time of Max's passing, and this ultimately led to her fighting me over it. It still baffles my mind that even after I caught her in a 10-year-long affair, she had the audacity to act as though me seeing another woman was some sort of crime worth taking away the son I had raised since he was only a few months old.
Now, okay, you're right. But it's not just some woman. But
Yeah.
that shouldn't really have anything to do with
complicated.
her. It's more just like, I don't know. I just
don't know.
this is truly a, we've said it
Mind-boggler.
before. This is a move to a new continent
Yeah.
type of event, and instead you moved next door.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Ultimately, though, I decided on my own to walk away from the entire situation, as I felt like our constant fighting and my lack of legal authority over him would lead to him being even more unhappy and traumatized than if I just left.
But you didn't really walk away from the whole thing. You basically walked as
Down the
close
block.
as you could to the thing without still being in the thing. Ugh.
Those of you following me or reading the comments of other posts will know that Sherry and I have relocated to her home state. That's at least something. Where I've started a new job and we're currently renting a home. We are also both in therapy, individual, and we're being counseled together. We both understand that a lot can go wrong with relationships that form the way ours did, and we both want to work on communication and growing with one another so we can better navigate the tough times when they come. We're both survivors of infidelity. The story of how we fell in love can never be a cute story to tell the kids. One thing I learned about my marriage through therapy is just how much my own parents' terrible marriage has affected me. My dad is a good guy, a loving father, and my mother is a wonderful woman, but their relationship is a mess. My ex-wife and I never really fought or got into huge fights. Now, kid living in a home with a loveless marriage, I always knew when things were bad. The loud arguments and the yelling and what have you. When things were quiet, things were good. It wasn't happy, it wasn't healthy, but it wasn't outright conflict, so I associated it with good and healthy. My ex-wife, in all likelihood, never loved me, and I'm coming to realize that just because we didn't fight and there was no outward conflicts, this by no means means things were happy.
Sorry, just really quickly. There's a comment from Rennie that's saying, my guy, you're banging the kid's cousin's mom. It's like, yeah, Sherry's child is still technically the cousin of your ex's child.
Of, like, your stepson.
So no matter what, you are still technically within the same family that you were in.
Rough.
In one way or another. Can you imagine being one of those kids and ending up learning the deep lore? Like how earth-shattering that would be.
Game of Thrones type lore.
Truly. Smells really good. It's just my only point of reference for goodness in a marriage was quiet, and I had quiet. I'll speak for Sherry a little, as she's given me the permission to share, but she had been made to feel completely dependent upon Max for everything. They met online, dated long distance, and he convinced her to move in with him, even if doing so meant she'd be dropping out of school. He also wanted to be one of those man-of-the-house types, so he didn't allow her to work. No work, no school, pretty much meant no friends outside of Max and my ex's family. Even worse, a year into it, he revealed to her that he was bi, and informed her he'd seen men every so often, and not knowing how to handle it, just accepted that situation.
Dang.
I'm sorry. He comes out to her and is like, yeah, so I cheat on you every so often. And she's like, okay.
This is the kind of guy that, like, that's how, like, bi people get, like, that bad rap.
Yeah, because he's a cheater.
It has nothing to do with him being bi. He just is a cheater.
No.
And also an
he's out here just being like,
cheater.
yeah,
He's like,
whatever.
I have to cheat on you because I'm bi.
No.
She's just like, okay.
No. She is now working on a means to get her GED so she can find a job should she choose to. I'm more than happy to provide for the mother of my child. But after not having a say in her own life for so long, she needs to be free to decide what she wants to do with it. Last I heard about my ex is that she got into an altercation at a parking meter with a traffic cop or meter maid, and the incident led to her arrest and discovering a whole host of prescription medication. At first I was told that she stole it from someone, but it turns out she's been doctor shopping. She ended up doing some token 3 weeks of jail time, and her parents are currently fighting to have custody of my stepson. Life got difficult for her real quick. It seems honestly like she's had a really hard life for a very long time. And that's
Yep.
I could write all day about this, but I'm going to end it here and answer questions if anybody wants to get more specific. But I think that just about does it. Thank you all for the support, everyone. You internet folks really helped talk me through all this.
And there's a 5th update.
It just keeps going. It never ends.
Yikes.
I hope the kid's okay.
Me too. Those are the people I care most about in this story. These poor kids. But there is an update. Sherry plans on posting. A few days ago, Sherry created her own account and plans on doing as I did and writing it all out as it happened with her. Oh, posting on Reddit.
Okay. So are we going to read that one next?
Yeah. She's been aware of my postings since the third or fourth one and always loves reading the thoughtful comments and interactions that I have with everyone. As I said in my last update, we're in counseling together, and I brought up the fact that I post on here as a way of getting it out of my system, putting it all out there, and she expressed interest in doing the same as a therapeutic exercise. Sherry's post! Ooh la la!
Sherry's post.
Hello, strangers. My name is not Sherry. Dun dun dun!
The biggest twist of all.
Biggest twist of this whole episode. But a lot of people on Reddit would know me by that name. For a year, my boyfriend has been posting and updating about his ex-wife's affair with my ex-husband, and a lot of the comments I have read have been the sweetest, most helpful advice I've ever heard. He didn't want to show me what he was posting, but after he found out I watched Reddit videos on YouTube, he showed me his profile, and I've been reading them and giving input on them too, as he writes. My ex-husband, the one that is called Max in illustrious Fox 8800 posts, we met online when I was still in school. I was 16 and he was 18, but we grew close pretty quick and started a long-distance relationship. He visited me once in my home state for a week when we decided we were going to move in together. My father
What?
never liked Max from the start. Also, that's crazy.
What? You saw him once for a week and you were going to move in together?
My first red flag was when he came over to meet my parents for the first time. He was wearing pajamas.
This man has no respect for anyone.
For the rest of the relationship, they never called him my boyfriend or fiance, just Pajama Boy. Pajama Boy coming over. We both loved anime, and I'm an introvert, so for a while, he and like two of my friends were really the only people I talked to. I never thought he was a bad person. I always thought he was like me, and just awkward and not used to crowds or social situations. He was always mailing me DVDs, figures, and clothes I liked when he wasn't around. And in the beginning, he really did a lot to make me feel like he loved me. In my senior year of high school, he convinced me that we had to live together and be together. He did not threaten to break up with me, but he did start saying things like this was the prime of his life and that he could be dating and sleeping around but didn't because of me.
Oh, wow. So he's also a liar, too. That's crazy.
So when anyone ever says that to you, you say, well, don't let me stop you because
Yeah.
we're not together anymore.
Go right ahead. I told him I wanted to finish out the year and told him this, and for a day or so he talked like he was okay with it, only to start guilting me about the life I was keeping him from living. My own life was not ideal, and being a stupid kid, I gave in, stopped going to school, and took a bus up to be with him. Things changed almost the instant I got there. He wasn't abusive, didn't hit me or insult me, but it seemed to me at the time that he had lost all spicy interest in me. We would have spicy sleep, but not often, and where once he seemed outgoing, he now never wanted to leave his parents' house for any reason.
You moved into his parents' house.
We were still friends, but for 2 years of our relationship, all we really did was play video games from the time we got up in the morning until the time we went to bed. He also started gaining weight from all the delivery food he ordered literally every day. Just to get out of the house, I got a job at a pet store where I made my first friends in that state. The whole time we were together, he worked in an office warehouse for a drugstore chain. So my life before pet store was waking up, seeing him leave for work, having awkward conversations with his siblings and parents, until he came home, and then video games.
This sounds
Honestly.
like hell on earth.
Yeah. Honestly, I started thinking about leaving him a year into this. I felt he worked really hard to get me, but once he had me, he stopped trying or caring. It wasn't long after this that he revealed to me that he was bi. No big deal, I am too. But he started what I can only describe as passive guilting me. He talked about being attracted to men and how that was a part of his life he could never explore now. Dude, you suck, man.
Yeah, that's when you just
You
go,
freaking
you
suck.
can explore all that you want. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have fun.
Bye. I moved back to my parents' house and I say, you were right about Pajama Boy.
He
I'm
sucks.
sorry.
We started arguing over it, and eventually I said something stupid like, go, get it out of your system. I didn't know this would become a common thing. Through his phone, I accidentally discovered that he had met up with a man for spicy sleep. I confronted him over it. We fought. He apologized, promised he would never do it again. Truthfully, I wanted to move back home, but when this all happened, I didn't have the best relationship with my parents, and I thought moving home might be worse. Nothing could be worse than this. This happened twice more, and I forgave him 2 more times, or at least I said I did. I started saving up money from my job and planned to leave him and get my own place. But before I could do much, I discovered I was pregnant.
Ah.
Oh, man. Man, oh, man.
Ah.
Instantly, his interest came back, and he was extremely nice to me again. I threatened to leave if he cheated again, and I told him that we had to change and couldn't keep living at his parents because I was ashamed of being our age and still doing that, and to still do that with a child would make me feel worse. To his credit, he did change and started cleaning up. It was then that we decided that we would move into his parents' second home
They had a second home this whole time and you weren't living there?
and began renting from them as the tenants that were previously renting had left. And it was during our move that I met his cousin, who I will call Jennifer. Yikes. Dun, dun, dun. I really liked her at first as we were into the same kind of music and anime and had the same sense of style. She also had a little boy and started to give me young mother advice. When we were moving into our home, she and illustrious Fox, I'll call him John from now on, brought over a lot of their son's baby furniture, a crib and so forth, and I was very thankful. But then he started hanging out with Jen a lot. She got him concert tickets for his birthday and took him out. He got a weekend job at a Halloween carnival.
Halarnival.
Halarnival. And she was always posting pics of herself there with him and his coworkers. She started to seem a little needy and close to him, but they were cousins, so I didn't think anything was wrong with it. Or if I did, I called myself crazy for thinking that. I mean, yeah, that's a fair response. That is the last thing I would expect. He also started wearing kilts around this time. It was weird, but he's Scottish, so I figured it was him awkwardly embracing his heritage. Then they went from flannel, tartan, whatever designs, to wearing one made of denim that just looked like a skirt. Well, it's not actually that crazy. It just seems like he's playing with like different clothes and stuff. He sucks, but
And they're
also
like, I can't believe OP's like, and then the
And then he
real
was wearing
deal breaker.
skirts.
The moment I realized it was over was when he broke out the kilt.
like,
the denim kilts.
yeah, I think he's probably
Canadian kilt.
I don't want to give him anything, but OP, I will. I gotta give him one thing. He's probably just playing around with different style. Jen started coming around a lot more the more pregnant I got, and I noticed that whenever she was going to be around and they were going somewhere, he'd be in kilts. Oh no.
Dude, I'll never trust a man in a
no.
kilt again.
They would claim to go to movies together or to hang out with mutual friends. I was very suspicious, but attributed it to hormones. After my daughter was born, Jen disappeared overnight, though they would talk on the phone a lot. I tried to snoop once or twice on his phone, but there was nothing, and he was working hard and behaving like a good father, so all the weirdness just vanished over time. A few months later, Jen started coming around again. It got to be she was coming by almost every day asking him to help with something because John was at work. I remember once, while they were both present, I said, "Fine, go date your dang cousin again." Yeah, you called that.
You were right on the money.
I would find out later that it was during this time that John had discovered that Max was sending Jen dirty texts, but she told him she'd deal with it. Then at one afternoon, as I was getting lunch ready for my daughter, I got a knock at the door, and it's John. He looks very composed, but he gets 4 or 5 words into explaining to me what he discovered before he gets choked up and teary. All of my suspicions were true. Max was cheating on me with his cousin. I went ballistic and exposed them on every social media platform I have. I saw Max 3 times after this moment because he ran away. The first was him pulling away from our house after he snuck in to collect his things. The second was meeting him in a parking lot because he wanted to talk in person. And the third was seeing him in the hospital after he was poisoned. This is already very long, and I plan to continue writing as a therapeutic release, but I'm glad I've got at least this off my chest. And folks, that, finally, is the end of the story. What a tale. What a tale.
I'm never going outside again.
You've got to stay inside forever.
But it says, we have a son now. But he was already doing so much for my daughter before that, so I really think we became parents together when I moved in with him. Life is happier now.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's what we're
Yeah,
Glad
glad
the
man.
child is healthy.
That was a comment she said about something.
But folks, that's the end of that story. And we've got some comments from another video.
Oh my gosh, dude. That was insane. What a find. Sophia, guys, claps in the chat for Sophia. She went to, huh?
That's not me.
No, you read the whole thing. It was like,
Oh. I think
claps in
I
the chat for
got it.
Sophia. She read it for an hour and 15 minutes straight, entertaining us through this whole episode. I need claps. That was
Sweet of you.
crazy. Yeah, you've been reading for.
She's good.
Yeah, she's a pro.
She's good at what
read
she
the last
does.
story before too.
I know. Okay, she's been reading for 2 hours straight. Everyone.
She's a pro.
Thank you, guys.
Holy cow.
Woo-wee. I need some Cheez-Its for that story. These comments are from the video My Boyfriend Lied to See His Ex. And this was posted September 23rd, 2025. TLDR, OP, 19 female, brought her new atheist boyfriend, Kevin, 21 male, to meet her parents. During dinner, while her dad was saying grace, Kevin chugged his drink and let out a huge burp. He refused to apologize and said he didn't have to follow religious rules. OP dumped him, only to later learn he pulled the same rude stunt at someone else's wedding. Turns out Kevin wasn't just an atheist, he was an arrogant jerk. And if you're curious to know the full story, you can go watch the full video. I remember that story too.
Me too. I read it with you.
That's so funny
Yeah.
that they got. Well, I don't have to follow your
Not my
religious
rules.
rules. It's like, dude, you're just
Those are
being
just etiquette. It's just an
asshat.
etiquette kind of
You
thing.
are being an ass clown, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna break up with you now.
We got a comment from Juan. That's just a child being an atheist. A true atheist doesn't give a crap. They'll just sit there quietly and wait it out.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Trinity Bernhardt 99.4 says, as a Christian, I believe disrespecting any religion disrespects mine. I have traveled to other religions' shrine on mission trips, and we took it in respectful silence.
Yeah.
We didn't make a scene or disrespect the people just because we believe different. I have deconstructed a lot and even questioned a lot of the differences between the beliefs. It is a rose called by any other name, situation, reality. Yeah, even then when I was extremely religious and believed I needed to save the world, I would never be that disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like when you go to someone else's house or just like another person's religious like temple or, place of worship, be respectful.
Yeah.
You're not at your house.
Mhm.
You're not, wherever your rules go. You're in someone else's place. Be
Unless
respectful.
it's the Vatican, I think if we all get together and we storm the Vatican at the same time, we can get into those vaults and find out what they've got down there.
See, on the other hand, also, if you're at the Vatican, you got to cover your shoulders. It's just a place of worship. If you want to go there, you got to follow the rules.
Yeah,
Tank tops only,
Tank tops.
and we're all climbing the walls at the same time. They can't
No,
stop us
they
all.
can't stop
with
us
their jean shorts
all.
on.
Jean
Dude,
shorts
this
and tank
is
tops.
the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
We are getting into those vaults, and we are finding.
I am Tom
secret
Hanks, and we're
tomes.
finding it.
They've got stuff in there.
But folks,
They got artifacts.
we've got nothing else for this episode.
We don't, yeah.
So if you love us,
I was going to
what?
say something.
What were you to say?
Oh, yeah. It also says, as a Christian myself, there is like things where you can't disrespect other people's religion. You have to be respectful. And if it bothers you that much, just leave.
Just don't be there.
Like, come on.
Also, just at dinner, shouldn't be burping in front of your partner's parents.
Yeah, that's just like
Weird.
what?
But that's the end of that episode, folks. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you
And
and
see
see
you
you tomorrow.